Greetings, campers. Welcome to Farmeritaville. Cheers. It's story time at Farmeritaville. You probably clicked on this video because I gave it some clickbaity title that has to do with wrestling and WWE. So I will get right to the point. Anyway, I have gotten to work 2 WWE events so far. I did a Raw not too long ago, and last night I did a SmackDown, April 25th version of SmackDown, and I just wanted to talk about what that experience was like. For starters, I'm getting paid to watch WWE wrestling, so right out of the gate, win-win, right? Where's the problem there, especially with what ticket prices have gotten to now? As far as being there, I show up mid-afternoon, a few hours before the show starts, but for about 2 hours or so, 2 to 3 hours before the doors open, the talent comes out and rehearses. Once I have checked in with the people I got to check in with, I get to just chill out and watch the talent rehearse, which is really exciting because sitting right there in the first few rows of the arena and just watching the entire roster almost be around the ring or in the ring, walking through stuff for that night, it's just surreal, because even though your brain knows, yeah, these people are acting and this is a story, to see them there out of character, working together, talking to each other, it's pretty interesting, especially when they have entrances that they rehearse. The entrances that get rehearsed and interferences and stuff like that, that was pretty fun. I remember one of the ones going on when I worked Raw a while back. They had Penta, and it was not Penta's Raw debut. However, it was the week after his Raw debut, and they were debuting his pyro. And his pyro is different. If you don't believe me, go back and watch this. When he debuted on Raw, right behind him, there were 4 like flame canisters, 4 individual flame pods. The following week, he had slightly different pyro. There was one unit with a flame bar on it, and then above that there were spinning gerbs, we call them, that spray sparks off of kind of a rotating wheel. And that was his pyro. That was his like official pyro test. That's what they wanted. And I remember when I got there that day, they wanted to go through and rehearse that because that was the new effect pyro wise. So getting to see that for the first time was pretty awesome. You hear a lot of these rumors and speculations in the dirt sheets and just rumor mills, you know, to get clicks, always talk about. And one of the themes that I see going around there a lot is just the backstage drama, and, you know, Triple H is, you know, he hates this or he loves that, or now that Vince is gone, it's like this or it's like that. It's not crazy. It's not. These are just regular people like any other job, and that's not just wrestling. I think that's true with anyone who's in the public spotlight, musicians, comedians, actors, etc. In entertainment. They're just people, and they're doing a job, and the platform on which their performance is being displayed to the world varies, and I think that alters our perception of who they are and you know, how great or how amazing they are. So I don't know, but anyway, I remember that Raw, JBL was coming back. He had an appearance for something, and I remember seeing Pritchard and JBL on the ramp between the stage and the ring, just hanging out, shooting the shit. And while they were talking, I was sitting in the audience killing time, and me and a dozen other local stagehand people playing on our phones and just watching the rehearsal. Which I'll go ahead and cut to the chase right now. Yeah, I said playing on our phones and watching the rehearsal. They have a strict no photo, no video policy during rehearsal time and in backstage areas. And you have to respect, when you're working in this environment, there is an etiquette. There is a professional job site etiquette that when you are working in an atmosphere as technical support, you are making the show happen, you're gonna be around celebrities or famous people, and the etiquette is not to, you can't run up to these people, oh my gosh, can I take a selfie with you? It's just professional courtesy. So even though you're there and you're around all these people, you've just got to be cool and you've got to be chill and appreciate the atmosphere, you know, that you get to hang out in, and that is pretty cool. And I've got more on that here in a little bit, but JBL and Bruce Pritchard, I remember the two of them were standing in the ramp between the stage and the ring, and they were just talking for a while, and at least once, maybe twice during that, somebody else in the company was walking through the arena or came out into the arena and saw JBL from afar and just yelled like a, "Hey, how's it going?" You know, kind of a family, "Dude, good to see you again" type of thing. And that right there is the exact, that's the textbook definition of like the mood at both of the shows I worked. Like, just everybody's happy to be there. Everybody's having a good time. At Raw, Penta's Pyro debuted, but last night on SmackDown, Aleister Black, I almost said Aleister Crowley, Aleister Black made his return and debuted. And when I showed up for the day, I walked in and checked in, and immediately that's exactly what was going on when I got there. Triple H was there directing. He was directing the camera angles. He was directing the talent. And if you've watched any number of the WWE documentary shows, you've seen the footage that if I could screenshot my memory from my eyeballs and show you, it would look exactly like any number of pieces that you've seen in WWE documentary type shows, where he's got his headset on and he's just, you know, walking down the ramp and he's talking to the camera guys and he's talking to the talent, and, you know, he's setting up the shot, doing this stereotypical director thing, and he's working, he's doing his job, and he's got his job because he's good at it and he has passion for it, like any of us. And so it was just neat to be standing 50 feet away from that while it was going on and be able to watch it in motion. Something else interesting that happened yesterday was catering. I would work these shows, don't tell my boss, I would work these shows for free just for the catering. Don't tell him that. But the catering is a sweet gig. You get to eat, there's food and drinks out the wazoo, and not boozy drinks like this, but, you know, just good stuff. Sodas and tea and just anything you want. They take really good care of the crew there, as well as the talent and the production people. But when you go to catering, it's like this cafeteria, it's the hangout, you know, it's like any room you would imagine at some event. There's probably a pretty good sized room with a bunch of round 8 or 10 seater banquet tables, and then a buffet line where you can fix yourself a plate, or there's a coffee bar, dessert bar, that kind of thing. I remember at one of the shows, I walked in and Sheamus and Braun Breaker were sitting at a table talking, and I was at the table next to them, and it was just crazy that I was just sitting there like, wow, like 6 feet to my right, these two guys are just hanging out. And while I was eating, Paul Heyman and Nia Jax both came in, got themselves something to eat, and Sheamus and Braun said hi and exchanged pleasantries, and then they headed out, and then Paul Heyman and Nia took their seats like in the exact same spot. And I'm just like, is this happening right now? This is so cool. And everybody was chill. I know both of those people, Paul and Nia, have you know, a kayfabe aura about them, but all I saw was just two longtime friends and coworkers in the lunchroom, you know, hanging out, shooting the shit. A little bit later, I remember I was walking down the hallway, and have you ever been walking down like an empty hallway and someone else is walking the other direction, and you got to make some kind of contact? It would be weird to just stare at the floor, not acknowledge this person. At minimum, you make eye contact and you smile and nod. You say, hello, hey, how are you? And a little while later, I had that in one of the hallways with Paul Heyman. I was just walking around. It was close to showtime. I wanted to go to the bathroom before the show started and grab another water to have for the show. And I just walked by Paul Heyman in the back, and we kind of, you know, hey, how are you? And that was it. And so that was pretty cool. Catering, like I said, is the hangout. Everybody comes through there at some point. I was sitting at a table by myself. And again, these are big, like 8 to 10 seater, you know, banquet tables like you see at a wedding or something. There were two, like, not wrestlers, WWE guys that sat at the table with me, and we're all just kind of sitting there eating and, you know, staring at our phones, because it's the future. Nobody talks to each other anymore. We're zombies. But anyway, the three of us are just sitting there eating, nothing's going on, and somebody walks by and there's another one of those great exchanges. Hey, how's it going? Oh, good to see you, man. Da da da. You know, and just kind of shot the shit for a couple minutes, and I looked up and it was Jacob Fatu, and he was just standing there bullshitting with these two guys, and I'm sitting at the same table just like, oh, neat. But he was a very down-to-earth guy, just bullshitting with these two dudes, and then took off. And I remember they were serving cheeseburgers last night, and I don't eat red meat very often, but I couldn't resist because Catering always takes good care. You may have heard it in other shows or other like talent reference it, but yes, the food is absolutely amazing, and the fact that they let the crew, the local crew and the touring crew, you know, everybody gets to eat up. But yesterday it was burgers, and these were thick beef patties. I'm talking like an inch plus beef patties, already had the cheese melted on it. It's like, I can't resist. I haven't had a good burger in a long time, and it was amazing. And why did I tell you that? Oh yeah, because that was something that Jacob said to these guys, was like, man, he goes, I want one of those burgers, but I can't, you know. So I do not envy that. The talent is exactly that. Talent, they're athletes, they're stunt people, and they got to take care of themselves. I appreciate the discipline that he displayed, because I certainly could not do it. Showtime itself was actually cool. The place where I am is, if you're looking at the stage, I am exactly on the left side of the stage. When they come out of Gorilla and they do their thing, I'm maybe 50 feet away or less, however wide that stage is. I'm ballparking. Once in a while, someone enters or exits like right in front of me. Obviously, they do their big entrance, you know, out of Gorilla and down the ramp to the ring. But if you've never been to a WWE live show, a lot of times what happens after a match, the loser may exit like down the side, or all the talent, winner and loser, may go down the side because someone else is coming out already for the next match. That's something that happens. Anyway, like last night on SmackDown, the way the segments were timed, there was a couple different ones where the talent was exiting like right in front of me. John Cena was the big one at the top of the show. He walked off, and the entrance for the next match was happening, so he came up the ramp and then went down the left side of the stage right by where we were standing, and all the people sitting on the extreme side obstructed view seats got to see him up close and yell at him and stuff, and he stayed in character the whole time. They all do, you know, they stay in character. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre had a match that was, you know, challenged like in the middle of the show. But Damian Priest interfered, and in the break before that match, they had a big group of stagehands come out, like stage crew, and they came out from backstage off of stage right where I was, and this was the second time that it had happened that night, that they had come out from there. The reason it caught my attention is because all the way down in front of the cameras, like what you hear them refer to as the hard cams, there's usually a pretty good pool of stagehand labor, local crew, ring crew, right there ready to go do stuff during commercial breaks. So why were they bringing a dozen plus people out from the back and then back in a minute later to do it? So earlier in the night, I forgot what the first one was, but I saw that they came out, they did something, they went back. And this time it caught my attention, and I looked and I started scanning everyone's face because they were walking right in front of me. I smack dab caught Damian Priest in the middle of that. I'm like, that's Damian Priest. And so I knew that he was being snuck to the ring for the next segment. And I looked at the script. The next segment was the Drew McIntyre LA Knight match. So I'm like, okay, of course, him and Drew had exchanges earlier. They just had their match at WrestleMania. There's gonna be something there. So that happened. And then the other thing that happened during that match was Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu both showed up and interfered. If you watched it last night, you know what I'm talking about. But mid-match, while everything's going on, there was a WWE, like a production assistant, and someone in a hood walked out. They weren't running, but they were walking quickly. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. And they ran right in front of me, and there was no hesitation, wait. It looked like they walked right out, and then that's when Jacob Fatu showed up. Obviously, that was Jacob Fatu that she was sneaking out. And then when he was done interfering, he walked off, not in disguise, right in front of me and everybody else. And so that was kind of cool to see. That was another, like, you know, out in the open exit. But that brings me to another interesting facet of working these shows is the scripts. They show me like the list of matches and segments is broken down by segments because, again, it's TV first. It's a live show second. It's TV first. So it's segment by segment. The scripts are loose. It's just a match, a writer, a producer. It does not have details. It does not have surprise appearances. Like on this script, it talked about the Miz. The Miz had a promo in ring, and that's when Aleister Black shows up. Aleister Black was not on the script. That's a secret. It happens when it happens. Whatever the segment is, that's all that it tells you, and then it tells you who's involved, and then it'll tell you if it's for a title or not. And that's typically it, along with the writer, producer, and talent. And so the nitty-gritty details, they're not just going to put out there for people to be aware of. So that's what it's like to work a WWE show. That is my POV. I'm really hoping another pay-per-view comes back to North Texas, so we'll see. I'm not holding my breath, but it would be really cool to work a big event now that I've done a couple of the regular weekly shows. If you enjoyed this video, then subscribe, watch other shit, you know the deal. You watch enough YouTube, probably you've heard a bajillion YouTubers give you the same spiel. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Just like, subscribe, etc. If you didn't like this video, well, like and subscribe anyway, because maybe the next video that I do, you will like. There's also a good chance that you're like, who the hell is this guy just like drinking in the middle of the day and talking to me about wrestling? Well, it's me. It's Farmeritaville. That's part of what we do here. Glad you could join us. Thanks for coming, and I'll see y'all soon. In the meantime, go do stuff.